kind of get your hands in it and experience flowers in a whole different way. Hi, my name is Emily. I'm the creative director at Eau de la Rose, and I wanted to take a minute and talk you through how to condition your flowers and how to make a few beautiful arrangements for your home. So you should have received 50 stems of sweet pea, 50 stems of anemones, and 20 stems of peonies. Your colors are going to be a little different than this palette, but what you want to do is have a couple vases ready at home. You can fill them up with water like this. You're going to unwrap them, and when you unwrap them, you're going to just take them out, and you want to give all the stems a fresh cut. You can put them on a cutting board and slice them with a knife. Oh my gosh, they smell amazing. Now, all of my flowers have been hydrating for a while, so I don't need to put them in water right now. We're going to just start to design with them. So basically, you unwrap them, lay them on a cutting board, take a sharp knife, cut. And then same with the anemones. We're going to unwrap. You're going to rest them on the cutting board, cut, and right into warm water. Same thing with the peonies. So peonies, there's a little bit more work involved. Basically, peonies have leaves on them. So what you're going to do, you might need a sharp knife to cut these, or a nice pair of clippers, because the stems are very thick. But again, cut the stems, and you're going to drop them in water. And we want to let everything hydrate for at least an hour before you start designing with it. So everything here has been hydrated already, so I'm going to take you through to the next step. Get this paper out of here. So the next step with all of our peonies, what we want to do is remove any of the leaves that are going to be below the edge of the vase. So I know with the vases I've selected that this is going to be in water. So let's just say goodbye to that. So I'm just pulling them off. Sometimes there's pretty leaves up here, which you can leave. It adds really nice texture to your arrangement. And you can see the difference in peonies. Basically, there's a few different stages. So you have, these are closed and they're really tight. And this is nice and open. And this is on its way to open. Now, some peonies could take 3 or 4 days to open. The ones that are open now have taken, let's see, a day and a half. So it's something to think about when you're making your arrangement. You don't want to cut your stems too short and pack everything really tight. You want to leave some room for these little beauties to open. Now this one is very, very tight. It should open. Sometimes I get a little impatient and I want to help it, so I can just gently roll back sort of the garter petals, the outer casing, and that should help it open. All right, we've done that. Now I want to show you the vases I have. I chose this vase. This is going to be my largest piece, more of a focal that maybe I'll put on my kitchen island or my dining room table, or even on a coffee table. And then I have a drinking glass straight from my cabinet. I have a bud vase that I love. I usually put this by my bedside table. And then I have another drinking glass. So yeah, I just picked what I had in-house, so I thought maybe that would inspire you guys to look into your kitchen cabinets. Obviously you can use your vases if you have them, but if you don't, you know, it's nice to have some smaller pieces to sprinkle around the house. So now anytime we design, I always want to start with my largest arrangement first. That really helps me gauge how many flowers I'm going to need to use. So I can tell from this vase, it's going to use quite a few flowers. So I'm going to use, why don't we say 15 peonies, which is perfect. I'm going to use 15 peonies, and I'm going to use about 20 anemones. Well, we'll do 20, yeah, about 20 anemones. And then I'm going to use about half of my sweet pea. And the other half will get mixed into my other vases. Okay, I like to separate my flowers ahead of time just so I have a plan and it's organized. I have my floral clippers, which are really easy to use. Anytime you're designing, you want to start with your largest flower first. So that would be our peony. And usually when we're designing, I mean, I have a good idea of where to cut the stem, but for you guys, I would suggest measuring the stem up and, you know, on an angle in front of your vase to get a sense of how long you want it to be. And I actually think this is a really good length because we have a lot of flowers to add. It's really easy to cut it short and fill it up fast, but you're not going to end up with the most beautiful arrangement. And like I said before, you want to leave room for your peonies to grow. So as you're designing, you want to be able to insert the stems on an angle. And I usually go opposite angles as I'm working. And I like to have my stems intersecting in the middle. And as that happens, you start to create a really great intersection for the stems, which then becomes the foundation for other stems as you add them. So let's keep going. I'm cutting my peony. I like to cut it on an angle also, if possible. It just helps to open the stem a little bit more and to allow for better hydration. So this is a good example of how you can use your sort of matrix that you've built. So I have 5 stems around the perimeter of the vase that are intersecting really nicely. And then from there, I can actually position this flower off of the intersection so it stays in place versus just continuing to fill around the perimeter. You want to look in and see how you can use those stems. And that also helps you maximize the flower coverage and get a very full looking design. It's one of the things when we're designing and creating for weddings and special events, you know, there are very specific looks in mind. And for some clients, it's really important that we maximize the volume and really make it look substantial. So how we design the flowers is so important to do that. And I also find it really interesting with working with freelance designers, because we have a large group that we work with. You can give 2 people the same exact recipe, show them the same exact sample photo, but you get 2 very different arrangements. Look at that, isn't that taking shape nicely? So you see I still have a lot of holes, which is perfect. It's exactly what I want, because I also have a lot of flowers left to add. I'm helping this peony as well. Oops, lost a petal. Let's just put this little baby in there. Perfect. And again, even though I pulled all of these flowers, if I find I don't need all of them, that's fine. I can just find another vase in my cabinet and go from there. So here we have anemones, which the length is actually pretty close to what it needs to be, but I'm gonna give them a fresh cut. And when I'm inserting these, again, I'm going in at an angle. That's the other thing when we design, we're very careful with how we position our flowers. Oh my gosh, look at that. So gorgeous. You want to make sure you can appreciate the face of the flower. In other words, when I insert this in my arrangement, I want it to face outward so everyone can enjoy it, versus inserting it like this and all you see is this side of the flower. See, isn't that beautiful? Okay, so I'm working my way through with my anemones. It's filling up the arrangement beautifully. Now, when you get your anemones, a lot of them might be closed. They will open. So not to worry. And it's one of those flowers that's really beautiful, kind of gracing the top of your design versus, you know, cutting it too short and having it hiding beneath the flowers. Like, you definitely don't want that. Okay, I'm just gonna rotate it so you guys can see. Just gonna keep adding. So the peonies were our first layer. Now we have our anemones, and again, they are the next layer. So they're sort of rising above the peonies, kind of showing off. Let's see what we have here. It's always good to step back and look at your design and see how it's shaping up. Because you want to have nice placement Really good coverage. Okay. Perfect. I think that's looking great. I have 2 more, might as well just add them. And then we're gonna move on to our sweet pea. Now, with the sweet pea, because it's the last element we're using and it's very delicate, I'm actually, I wanted to grace the top of the arrangement. And for myself, when I design, I like to be efficient, which means fast, I guess. So I'm actually just gonna give these one snip all at once, and then I can insert from one hand to the next. I know for a fact this is gonna get in the way, so I can put it in. It may not end up in the water, but if I try to add a stem next to it, a stem may get caught in it and then end up tearing it off and putting it in the water. So you wanna make sure that any of the blossoms that are gonna be too close to the water level get removed. And I think what's so beautiful about this is just, like I said before, kind of having the sweet pea gracing the top of the design. And gently, like ever so gently, you can insert each stem. And as you're designing, if you feel some resistance, just take a peek in there, see if you can find a better place to position the flower. Flowers are quite fragile, so the stems can break really easy. And not only that, you can damage the flower blossoms themselves. You never want to hold any flower by the face. You never want to push it from here or squeeze it or any of the above, because it'll bruise. Some flowers are much more delicate than others. Oh, isn't this pretty? And this particular variety of sweet pea smells amazing. So pretty. Okay, I'm gonna just add a few more, and then I think I might save some sweet pea just for a vase all by itself. That's the other thing, like it's lovely to do all these mixed arrangements, which I think it's fun for you guys as you're designing, just to kind of get your hands in it and experience flowers in a whole different way. And I love the fact that these flowers are literally coming straight to you from the farm in Holland, which normally it goes to the farm, then it goes to the wholesaler, then it comes to us, and we condition it and we process it and we make sure it's perfect, and then it goes to you guys. So we're skipping 2 steps. That's why you have to do a good job. Anyways, woo-hoo, pretty, pretty. Okay, one more stem, and that's it. I don't want to add too much because I really want to be able to see all the other flowers. I feel like I've added a lot, which is totally fine. I want to be able to see the anemones. So look at that, just a really beautiful spring composition. Okay, isn't that great? So let's move on to the other vases. I'm going to move this one aside for now. And I'm going to move on to my next vase, which is this one here. Oh, that's my dog. Say hi to Teddy. I want to show you something else that you guys can do. Why not? Just to show you something else. So for this vase, I have goodie hair ties. They're just clear elastics. So I'm going to use one of these. I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to make a little hand-tied bunch to go in this vase. So same idea with the hand-tied bunch. We're actually going to start with the largest flower first. I'm just holding 3 stems together, kind of creating like a little ball. And then I'm going to go into my other 3 stems, which are my anemones. Actually, it's going to be more than 3. I'm going to do 5. And as I'm doing it, I'm just kind of clustering it in my hands, rotating it. And I oftentimes will allow the stems to go on an angle just to loosen up the design. You can kind of keep a very loose grip as you're playing with the flowers. This is just a different way to design. You don't need to do this. You can follow the same exact steps as we did in the large arrangement here. Like measure your stem, cut it, start with your peonies, then anemones, then sweet pea. But I just thought I would show you something a little different. So as I add my flowers, the flowers are kind of facing me and the stems are directed away from me so I can see what I'm doing. but I should face it towards you guys. Perfect. I actually think in that lavender vase I showed you, that lavender drinking glass, that we should probably do all sweet pea. I think that'd be really spectacular. So there you go. Just something fun to change it up for you guys. If you have any little ones in the house, they might enjoy doing this as well. So I'm just holding the glass next to the stem so I can see where I need to cut it. And I can tell it's right there. And then from there, I'm just going to stretch open my elastic and slide it on. And then you have a little arrangement. Let's drop it in. I need to cut it shorter. Let's see. Ta-da! Perfect. Look at that. It's so easy. Okay. Isn't that sweet? Okay, now from there, let's put this little beauty aside. We're gonna go on to this drinking glass. And I'm gonna save 3 stems for my bud vase. And I have anemones and peonies also for my bud vase. But I wanna do all sweet pea in this lavender vase. Let's see how that goes. I think it should work. The thing is, I have to put it in a vase that's this high, so I actually need to take off a fair amount of these blossoms, right? You can see, to take off all those lower ones, because they're gonna get in the way of the vase. Oopsie. Now, we're gonna use the same method as we did designing the larger arrangement, and we're going to cut our stems, kind of measure them, like that. And we're just gonna go around, kind of in a circular pattern. We'll see if we have enough stems to do this. If not, I'm gonna borrow some from our big arrangement. But I thought the sweet pea alone is so pretty, so why not? So again, I'm just creating that little crisscross intersection inside the vase. Cutting a few stems at a time because I like to be efficient. You don't need to do that though. My son and my husband are both allergic to flowers. So having the flowers in the apartment is next to impossible for me. If I have flowers, they usually end up on the terrace or in the hallway or at a neighbor's house. So truthfully, the only thing I can have is like grocery store flowers. For some reason, they don't seem to bother them, which is sad for me. But anyways, at least I get to work with flowers, so I have that benefit. Look at that. Oh my gosh, this is so adorable. Perfect for a powder room, bedside table, well, like a side table. So sweet. Oh, so simple and so beautiful. Okay, now our last little container, here we have it. So we have anemones. I'm gonna do 2 peonies and 3 anemones. So the same thing, you wanna measure. I don't want it to be tight and compact. I want it to be a little bit more natural in shape. So I'm not gonna cut the stems all the same length. I'm gonna cut them 3 different lengths. And again, I'm measuring my stems up next to the vase so I can see where I wanna go. And what you have to remember when you're cutting your stems, you're better off cutting them gradually. So little by little, you get shorter and shorter versus too short too quickly. Because if it's too short too quickly, you tend to present yourself with some challenges when it comes to designing. So look at this little pumpkin, cute as a pie, whatever we want to call it. Anyways, this little guy spinning in circles. Stay in place, please. Yeah. Okay. How sweet. We have this great little bud vase. I'm going to show you everything we made. Guys, this is so exciting. So we have this beauty. That's our full lush composition. We have our sweet pea, our other composition there. And then we have our bud vase. Look at that. I hope this is inspiring, and I hope you're enjoying the process of experiencing flowers in a whole different way. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy. Let me know how you do. I would love to see photos. And until next time, enjoy your flowers. Bye.